What is up, Nomad Nation? You've got Godfather. I am one third of your Nomad Gamers. It is Tuesday. We have started yet another week. I tell you what, the weekend was exciting. The weekend was busy. And we got a lot of gaming in this weekend for once. Uh, so, what are we doing tonight? Well, first and foremost, if you are watching me on any of these social medias down below, I want to say thank you for Kick, for Twitch, and for Facebook. You have found God's Father. I invite you to hit that follow button, turn on your notifications. That way, every time that I come live at you, you are being notified. Now, if you're watching me over on YouTube, you have found the home of the Nomad Gaming Podcast, where every Thursday at 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, my other two knucklehead co hosts, we come live at you, and it is just an entire different vibe here in the Shire. So, if you're watching me there, somewhere right over here, you're going to see a subscribe button. Somewhere right over here, you're going to see a heart and a thumbs up. Do me a favor, click on both, smash all of them, turn on your notifications. That way, when we come live at you, you are being notified. So, what is new for this Tuesday, Godfather? Well, first and foremost, look at my background. Here, I'll even move out of the way. I'll even move out of the way. Here we go. Ready? What is this? Uh, what's this scene from? This here, if you are a World of Warcraft player, you would know what this is. This is the city of Stormfall. Or Stormwind, I'm sorry, Stormwind. I keep saying Stormfall for some reason because that's a mobile game I used to play. It is Stormwind. Somewhere right over here is where you fly into Stormwind. You kind of come down the steps here, kind of go over, and there's kind of shops and everything else around. And if you go directly back from my big fat head, you will have the harbor to where you can go out to another continent. So I did get my green screen in. If you have been watching any of my posts or any of my live gaming streams, you would know that I got it in yesterday, got the settings all done, except for this right here. Ignore that. I'm still messing with the settings a little bit. It's a little spillage, nothing bad, but I think every Talking Tuesday and Thirsty Thursday, I'm gonna have another picture from another epic game. Won't be the same one twice, I can guarantee that. But it'll be a picture from one of our favorite games. I don't play WoW anymore. It does hold a special place in my heart. So Stormwind, here you are. Stormwind is now of our off of our list. It takes the crown as being number one. So, what are we talking about tonight on Talking Tuesday? We're going to go down and we're going to look at Lord of the Rings. There's some news coming out of there. Grand Theft Auto. There's a couple of news and there's a couple of things I need to say about Grand Theft Auto, so we'll get there too. Battlefield and Ark, Xbox Game Pass, even though I'm not a Game Pass subscriber anymore, I'm still going to be reporting on that. Some more GTA news. Nintendo Nintendo's back in the news, and not for the reason why you might think. On Battlefield takes up a good chunk, and so does Grand Theft Auto. So let's get right into this. So I didn't know Lord of the Rings had its own uh, open world game. And when I was looking for stuff to talk about on Talking Tuesday tonight, I ran across this. And the only reason why I'm reporting on this is because I watched, good Lord, because I watched the movie. The movie was amazing. By the way, if you've not read the books or you haven't watched the movie, I I highly suggest to you that you go watch that movie. You go uh read the books. However you do, you go do because it is a fantastic film. It is a fantastic franchise. And it sounds like the game is just as fantastic. So let's go. Sean Bean once famously said that one does not simply walk into Mordor, and oh boy, was he ever wrong on that one. Demonstrating his utter wrongness yet again is this emulated vintage gaming YouTube channel. I don't mind giving another YouTube channel some love when they do something good, which recently posted, and this is epic. If you go watch it, get some time. 10-hour long video of the lore accurate recreation of Frodo's epic journey from Bag End to Mordor in Lord of the Rings Online. So I'm not going to read the entire article for you. It was something that I found to be uh, that I found interesting. I figured you might find it interesting too, and that is only because I'm huge on lore. I love games to follow the lore, and when the game turns into a TV show or a movie, I want those to do the same thing. I want the lore followed as closely as possible. If it is entertaining enough for a video game, then it's entertaining enough for a TV or movie show. Give me just 1 second. Well, tell you what, we're in that time of the year where you can't gauge how warm or how cold it is around here because we are transitioning from fall to winter. But back to what I was saying, the lore. If it's entertaining enough to be on TV and in a movie, then it should be entertaining enough to be in the game, and vice versa. If it's in the game, it should be entertaining enough to go onto the big screen or onto the TV. Because let's face it, we don't fall in love with these video games for nothing. We fall in love with them mainly, or that used to be, now we're starting to move away from that, but mainly because of the storyline. What was the story? We fall in love with the characters. We fall in love with how things go. A great a great example of this would be Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2. If you go on to YouTube and you watch any of the reactions to Arthur Morgan dying in chapter 6, there's people out there that literally cry when they watch that cinematic, when they watch Arthur die. Now, why do you bring this up? Because what this individual did was have me think about a plethora of games. There's not just one game out there that I can point to and say, you did it wrong. Or one movie out there that I can say, you did it wrong. For the most part, every one of them has either gotten it very wrong or they've gotten it very right. The Nomad Gamers talked about this a little bit, I'd say about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, where there were certain TV shows that just missed a mark. Halo was one of them. I thought Halo was horrible. I'm not a big Halo fan, okay? Fireball plays it. Fireball loves that franchise. Look, if we had a Hall of Fame of games, which we do, and it doesn't get the recognition that it deserves, but if it had the recognition that it deserves, and I don't know if Hall of Halo's in it, but if it isn't, it should be. I'm just calling a spade here. I don't like the game. I don't play the game. But you can't, when you think of Xbox, you think of Halo. So what this guy did, moving his character from uh Bag End to Mordor, from the Shire to Mordor, he did it by lore. He walked, he didn't run. Where the book and where the movie said he could hitch a ride, he hitched a ride. But other than that, he walked. And I think that's awesome. So for me, hats off. You get a bam bam because you did it good. I like that. You get a double bam. All right, let's get into our first topic of Grand Theft Auto. And if you've seen my page yesterday, you will notice that one post has gotten more traction than any other post out there. And that is the Grand Theft Auto 6 post. Zadar Crush Rider hates it when I bring up Grand Theft Auto 6. However, Grand Theft Auto 6 is one of those games where it is a cult classic. Everyone is looking for it to come out. Everybody wants to know what's up with it. Hell, there's even a betting line on if it's going to come out on time or it's going to be delayed. When I looked Monday night, it did not have May of 2026 for a release date. Didn't. People have since told me that it does now. Okay, so it does. Big deal. It ain't going to change the price of tea in China. At the end of the day, it's either going to get delayed again or it's going to get it's going to release in May. One of the two is going to happen. But with that being so heavily on my mind, thinking of Grand Theft Auto 6, I decided when I was going through my research for Talking Tuesday, when I seen this article, I was like, yes, that article is the one I'm going to grab for this. So here we go. Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser says there is a reason the Grand Theft Auto games are always set in U.S. cities. When I read the headline, I instantly went, I think you're wrong, Bubba. I think you're wrong. Something told me that this statement was not correct. And guess what? It wasn't correct. In 1999, the original Grand Theft Auto, it had a DLC that took it to London. He does mention that in this article. And when he mentioned it, I went, aha, I knew it. But back to what the article pretty much says is there is a reason why they are all in U.S. cities, and there's one reason alone: guns. The other reason we will get to here in a minute. I don't want to sound political on my podcast because I will never bring politics into this. Very first thing that it says Grand Theft Auto did actually go to London, but it was in 1999 for the original GTA, and the series has never returned. So the other reason why I thought this was interesting was because I've been thinking about Grand Theft Auto 6. I've been thinking about Grand Theft Auto 6 pretty much monthly for the last 2 years. Where is it going to be set? Los Santos? New Liberty? Where? There's a third one, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. New Liberty, Los Santos. No one for Miami. I can't think of it. Well, God damn it, I can't think of the name of it now. Oh, Liberty City, Vice City. Duh. Duh. But, anyways, I was thinking, where could it go? We've already explored all these cities so many times. If they want something fresh, where are they going to take it? Then it kind of scared me. Oh, shit, they might take this to Tokyo. They might take it to London. They might take it to Rio. They might take it to Tehran for all I know. But they didn't. And this article explains it all because the reason why GTA kept coming back to Miami, New York, and Los Angeles was because of the American culture. Guns plays a big part in that. But we are the one country where all of this kind of blends together, and it just kind of perfectly snaps. and it kind of gives you a different vibe. And I'll read some of the of what this article says. Hauser, who left Rockstar in 2020 after guiding the stories of the first 5 GTAs and the Red Dead Redemption games, both of them, then implied that those cities, presumably along with other major locales, are the only place it could work. Hauser said that GTA London 1969, an expansion for the original Grand Theft Auto that came out in 1999 and for the record was released for PC as well as PlayStation, and I do remember that for PlayStation, was pretty cute and fun. But even back then, there was no interest in going international with a standalone Grand Theft Auto release. That is huge. Uh, Whenever you're thinking about Grand Theft Auto, a lot of things come into mind. One of the biggest ones is location. And then after the location, it's gameplay. Are they going to put up a stupid roadblock on a bridge again to where you can't access the entire city at one time, presumably for your safety? What is the criminal underground going to bring us? What are they going to do? Are they going to keep Grand Theft Auto Online pretty much as is? Are they just going to take the criminal enterprise, the meth lab, the cocaine lockup, the counterfeit money, the weed plant or the weed grow house? Uh, are they going to take those core MC uh, businesses and port them over to Grand Theft Auto 6? We haven't heard much about it yet. And I get why we haven't, but when you look at the totality of the game, when you're looking at the totality, I want to know about where is it? Where is Grand Theft Auto going to be located at? We already know this. That's been answered for us. What does the gameplay? What does that look like? We're not going to know that until we get to, I would say, March at the earliest, April at the latest. We will start to see more and more and more of it at that time. And then on top of that, I want to know what is going to be going on with the online mode. Are we going to have similar functions as what we had in Grand Theft Auto 5? Which means, are we going to have a crew only session? Are we going to have an invite only session? Or in great Rockstar formula and thinking, are they going to throw us into a world like they did with Red Dead Redemption 2 and make us deal with the griefers, make us deal with the PvP people? Because I can tell you right now, if they throw us in with the PvP people and they don't give crews or individuals or groups of people the opportunity to go to an invite only session or a crew only session, a lot of people are going to leave that game just like they did with Red Dead Redemption 2. Because when Red Dead Online came out, it was hot. Everybody wanted to go on there. Myself and Zanar Crustrider, we went on there. I love Red Dead Online. The games that I play, I love, and I will deal with any shortcomings that come out. If it's a game that I don't love, I'm not going to deal with the shortcomings. So, and I've told this story before on here. When me and Zanar Crustrider went on there, we got griefed relentlessly for nothing. We weren't harming nobody. We were just out doing our own thing. 2 friends out hunting, out riding, out doing our thing. We got harassed so bad that Zanar Crustrider just upped and left, and he has not been back to that game since. That's one player that Rockstar ran off that they won't get back. Now, if they would have had a crew only session or a posse only session or a invite only session like they do with Grand Theft Auto 5, then you might have been able to get that player back. Because everybody can agree with me that Grand Theft Auto 5 is more enjoyable when you can go to invite only, run your businesses, run your shit, do things the way you want to go do it. Invite your friends that you know are not going to mess with you. Or if they do, there is no hard feelings and they're not going to mess with your most valuable shipments. Plain and simple. They're not out there trying to rob you. That's what makes the game fun, is when you can work with other people and do things. I got on a big soapbox. But anyways, I find it very interesting that this former executive for Rockstar Games or Take-Two Interactive or wherever he comes from, I find it very interesting that he says uh, they have no interest in going outside the United States. And to be truthful, they have more than enough uh, source material within the United States to have Grand Theft Auto fucking 25 if they wanted to. So let me make sure I'm not missing anything here. Dan Houser did a lot of interviews over this last week. So there is a lot of news coming from him and generally where I'm getting most of my information for Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead, because we still have another bullet point with Grand Theft Auto that bleeds into Red Dead Online or Red Dead Redemption. So, did Battlefield and Ark show the way on something that the Nomad gamers were just complaining about? If you had been watching the Nomad gamers, if you've been watching Godfather, you would know two things. We're pissed at how big the file sizes are, and we're pissed that we can only play certain games at certain times because you have to wait for one to uninstall and one to install. It's a pain in the fucking ass. Everybody out there that plays more than one game knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's irritating. So Arc Raiders and Battlefield 6 prove that great performance and low system requirements are king for multiplayer PC games in the year 2025. They have taken these games. Arc. Let's take Arc. Arc is not a AAA developer per se. In the past few days, it is so popular that over the weekend the servers were wobbling. There was long queues to get into it. It was wobbling over the weekend as more than 350,000 people tried to jump in the game's official launch last Thursday. An impressive result for a new IP from a medium-sized developer. So this is not a AAA developer. This is not a large developer. This is still an up and coming one. 350,000. That's massive. It's not the only multiplayer game boasting huge number counts. I've already reported on this once. At the moment, either. Battlefield 6 managed a massive 747,000 concurrent players earlier in the month off the back of a mostly well-received launch. So now that we're post-launch, now that we're past, we're getting into season 1, we're getting into RedSec, we're getting into other things. You can look back and you can say, was it a successful launch or not? Most of the experts are saying it was. There's no single reason why both of these games attracted so many players to their respective worlds. Battlefield 6 is the latest entry in a long and storied series, whereas Arc Raiders has taken an extraction shooter formula and refined it down to an easy to learn, hard to master point, to name just two. I'm getting this information from PC Gamer. These are not my words; these are the author's words. So don't take it as Godfather knows everything, because I absolutely do not. But I find this ironic. Okay, I what's up, Dakota Novell? I find it ironic that you have a mid-size developer and a AAA developer with almost the same genre. You know what I'm trying to say. The same type of game, and they're both going through the fucking roof. You've got Arc, medium-sized developer. You've got EA, AAA developer. One posting 747,000 concurrent players. That's the big one. That's the big boy. And then you got the medium guy coming in at 350,000 people. That's huge. Now, how big was these file sizes? Uh, but I'll tell you the one thing, and I'm just going to read some more of this article for you. I'll tell you the one thing I think has made a major difference to those players' uptake numbers. Low hardware requirements. That's what we've been complaining about, that they're too high. Sure, there have been some highly demanding, successful releases this year, like Borderlands 4, Oblivion Remastered, and Assassin's Creed Shadows. And I said it before I read it. But these are mostly single player games. And that's exactly what I said when I was reading this. While boasting good numbers at various points in their own right, all required some powerful modern hardware and often a good dose of upscaling and frame generation to get the most out of them. There's more. That is no bueno for multiplayer game, particularly when you have a ludicrous player targets to hit. In Battlefield 6, you got plenty of targets to hit. I am sure, I am sure in Arc, you've got plenty of targets to go after. As someone who has the luxury of testing out some of the fastest gaming hardware on the planet, and I do not, this is all the author's words again. It can be easy to forget that most gamers, which is this guy, are still running modest machines, as the most recent Steam survey indicates. Steam is doing very good things, by the way, for the PC community. Uh, Sitting king of the hill for desktop GPUs is still the RTX 3060, a now 4-year-old budget card with a 40 series equivalent, the RTX 4060, not far behind. I don't know what, I think those are graphic cards, by the way. Dakota, I'll get to your comments here in just a second, buddy. Uh, uh, I don't want to bore you with all the dumb shit. Because they get into a lot of technical stuff. But here's the thing, and I can't find it. I wish I could. Um, all of those games have massive, massive amount of storage that they need to run that game. Battlefield 6 and Arc are about half. A little below that, maybe a little above it, but they're not taking up as much room as what those other games are. And what we've been saying at Nomad Gamers and what we've been saying here on Talking Tuesday is these game sizes are getting too fucking big. I don't want to play just one game. I want to go out and play multiple games. But there hasn't been a quality of multiple games out there. And when there is, the file sizes are so freaking massive that it's hard to keep playing them. It's hard to remember where you're at. It really is. It takes you a good 5 or 10 minutes to figure out, oh, that's what I was doing. By that time, you might be going in a totally different direction. So let's get to our comments real quick. Dakota says, have you tried Arc Raiders? I have not. I have not. Also, have you heard of Risk of Rain 2? I saw an article about that today. Um, I skipped over it because I have a general rule of thumb of if I see more than two articles about it in three different uh, successful news sources. And when I say successful news sources, I mean reputable, to where they're not feeding me a line of fucking bullshit. Reddit, absolutely not. I will go to Reddit for tips and tricks on a game in gameplay, but I am not going to Reddit to get my news. And I'm not saying that's where you went, so please don't take it that way. However, if like this, I seen this in 3 different areas. There is a couple of articles or a couple of things we're going to get to that I seen in multiple spots. I'm not trying to report on Battlefield 6 every Talking Tuesday. It just happens that way. I'm trying not to report on Grand Theft Auto as much. We all know that I love the Grand Theft Auto series. I just do. I'm trying not to report on it. I'm trying to be uh, eh, open. I'm trying to expand my horizons, but I have to because I'm seeing it in so many different places. The same thing. Uh, the same with Battlefield 6 and this new Nintendo thing that just came out. So, whew, I think it's a great thing for the gaming community. I think it's a great thing for us players that these companies are starting to figure out that they can put out quality games with less demand on our systems. I know I can't afford the top of the line shit. I just can't. If you can, hey, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Go for it and experience it and have a lot of fun because if the roles were reversed, I would go out and get it and I would be experiencing it and I would be enjoying it. You only live life once. Go enjoy it if you can. But if you can't, if you're the average person like me, that's where you go, all right, instead of these million games, I got to focus down on maybe 3. I'll tell you right now, if you looked at my computer, if I were to pull up my Steam, I have Grand Theft Auto, I've got Red Dead, and I've got Minecraft. Then I've got a bunch of other ones that are really old games, but they are those old. I get to turn my brain off and just play, or it takes me back to a time when I wasn't as stressed. It takes me back to a time when I could turn this brain off and just do what I got to do. Let's get to another comment real quick. Oh, excuse me. Uh, File size is a huge factor, and what Dakota's about to say is absolutely true. And this is where the conversation came up with the Nomad Gamers. Todd has such a problem with that. If you were to go back and watch last week's episode of the Nomad Gamers, you would hear uh, Fireball and Zanar Crustrider saying the same exact thing about Call of Duty and about a few other games. I want to give you another example of a game that uh, it is a pretty hefty file size, but at the end of the day, uh, it is a game that they don't want you playing any other game. World of Warcraft, Stormfall, right behind me. You pay $15 a month to play that game. They keep coming out with new content, damn near monthly, damn near yearly, but their content stays with their lore. Their file size does not inflate to the point to where you can't run anything else. If you play World of Warcraft and you want to go play Red Dead Redemption Online, you could do both. You could. But you try playing Call of Duty and you try playing Red Dead Online and then you try and go to Grand Theft Online, guess what? One of the 3 has to go. One of the 3 gots to go. So I find it very, very refreshing that EA and whoever makes the art game, I wish I knew, but I don't, uh, that they have condensed it down and they have massive hits with a smaller game file. That's that's huge. That's a huge win for gamers. All right, so let's move on. We got to keep moving. Everybody knows that I have heartburn with Xbox Game Pass. I don't need to rehash my my disappointment with them and my utter disgust with their greed. Uh, so let's set that aside and let's just report on what they're doing. So November 2025, Wave 1 lineup. I'm going to tell you now, it is not anything to jump up and down about. Some people will. If you do, go for it. We're all good. And I'm not going to tell you if it's the Game Pass Ultimate, the Core, the Gold, the Platinum, the Base. I don't even know how many fucking levels they got. They expanded all the levels. So fuck that. If you want to know that, go over to Xbox. You'll figure it out. But here's the games that are coming out. Xbox Game Pass, November 2025. Wave 1 lineup. Dead Statistic Drive. I have never heard of that game. Sniper Elite Resistance. I have heard of that one. That's a fairly decent, good game. Egging On. Sounds like a fucking mobile game. Whiskerwood. Never heard of it either. Void Train. Got me. Great God Grove. Again, got me. Here's one that I do know is not under the name that I would expect them to put it under, but I know what franchise they're talking about. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris. I can't even say the motherfucker. But this is an older franchise. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. It's the Tomb Raider one. I don't know why the fuck they didn't just put Tomb Raider down, but they didn't, so it is what it is. By the way, thank you, Ashley, for the like, and thank you, Dakota, for the like. I do appreciate it. Here's one for you. Pigeon Simulator. Yeah, I want to pay $29 a month for Pigeon Simulator. Relic Hunter's Legend. Winter Burrow. Here's the one where people are going to be jumping up and down. They're going to do backflips. They're gonna go crazy about it for about 2, maybe 3 weeks. Then they'll drop it and go back to what they normally do. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. It's a game one drop on Game Pass. However, you need Game Pass Ultimate and PC Game Pass to be able to play it. So you have to have the top fucking tier. Again, I said I would put aside my differences and I would just report. Games leaving Xbox Game Pass on November the 15th. So you got just under 2 weeks to play these. Blacksmith Master. Sounds like a great game. Football Manager 24. It sounds like a mobile game. Football Manager 24 Console Edition. Frostpunk. Spreta. And here's one that everyone's all pissed off about. I've never played it before, but I've seen at least 2 articles saying that players are up in fucking arms about Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. I know I said that wrong, but whatever. There you have it. Xbox, this lineup is not worth the, it isn't worth the fee upgrade that you gave us. It just isn't. But all things must come to an end. When one relationship ends, another relationship starts. One door closes, another door opens, right? Well, that's just how it has to be. All right, so I told you a few minutes ago that when I see more and more articles on something, I feel compelled to report it to you. And that is exactly what I'm doing right now. So as I was going through, and this is coming from IGN, they are a reputable news source. They do very good things for the gaming community. But they did another interview with Dan Houser. Dan Houser's back. I told you we'd be coming back to him. So they are talking about a DLC for the Grand Theft Auto 5 story. Not online, but story. But this comes with a couple caveats, and we'll get right into it. He says for this DLC, it never quite came together and it was never finished. Rockstar co-founder Dan Houser discusses canceled GTA 5 single-player Trevor DLC for first time. This DLC don't even make sense to me. If you know Trevor, and we all know Trevor, Trevor is the dude that just does whatever the fuck he wants. He goes out and he'll stomp somebody's head in the ground and then pick their brain matter off and hand it to his girlfriend. We all seen that. We go to him and he's drunk in his underwear falling off a bridge or falling off a rock. You switch to him, you will see some just disturbing shit. But that's what makes you love Trevor. Grand Theft Auto 5 or Grand Theft Auto fans have known for some time that Rockstar Games worked on a single-player DLC for GTA 5 that would have seen Trevor, get this, assume the role of a secret agent. Bullshit. Last year, voice actor Stephen Ogg said Rockstar originally planned to make a story expansion focused on his character Trevor, with it thought to have fallen by the wayside as developers focused on the cash cow that was Grand Theft Auto Online. We all know that it's a multi-billion-dollar thing. I get it. Oh, excuse me. Ogg was joined by Michael actor Ned Luke and Franklin actor Sean Fonteno in a question and answer session with Streamly. The trio shed light on what they claimed was scrapped downloadable content for Grand Theft Auto 5 that starred Trevor as a federal agent or a Federal Investigative Bureau agent. Originally, they were going to do continuing stories for Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. I was kind of shocked they didn't. This article makes it make sense. Luke said, and Ogg expanded on his version. We also had that really cool shit of, and I forgot if it was a DLC, I have no idea, but where Trevor was going to be undercover. He works for the feds, Ogg said, and we did shoot some of that stuff with a James Bond Trevor. He's still kind of fucked up, but he is doing his best, and we shot some stuff, and then it just disappeared, and they never followed up on it. So, as you go down on this article, where it gets very interesting for me at is they're talking about the development team. That after Grand Theft Auto 5 launched, after Grand Theft Auto Online launched, they broke their team down into two teams. One team went to work on Red Dead Redemption 2, while the other team stayed behind and worked on Grand Theft Auto. Now, the part that I'm kind of murky on still is he says Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto Online. The other thing about this that I find kind of interesting is if you remember in the oh god damn it, I done lost it. Oh, the Doomsday Heist. You know when you had to go back to the mountain and drive backwards or drive forwards, and all hell broke loose, and you got to do that fucking spacesuit. You got to do the booster pack. That was originally slated for Trevor's DLC. They took what they had done for Trevor's DLC that they scrapped and they put it into the Doomsday Heist. Now, further on down, Ogg says that is where most of his bitterness came from towards Rockstar Games, is because they axed that and moved it over to Grand Theft Auto Online. And some of what he was doing without the federal agent part was incorporated into Grand Theft Auto Online, which makes a lot of sense for the timeline. Now, the other thing that I found interesting about this was they state in here that if they would have continued on with the Trevor DLC, then Red Dead Redemption 2 would never have been done. It would never have made it. So I guess looking back, I'm happy. Back then, I would have told you absolutely not. I want the DLC. I want to continue on with those three stories. But now that I got Red Dead Online, I got Red Dead 2. I'm very happy they scrapped it and went to that. By the way, there's been a lot of talk about a Red Dead Redemption 3. Uh, everything that I can find it is in production. It is being made, but don't look for anything until 2030 at the very earliest. So that means 2032, 2033, 2034. Fuck, it could be 2040 before we actually see a Red Dead Redemption 3. Don't get your hopes up. All right. So, is Nintendo's case against Pal World crumbling? I wasn't going to report on this whole Nintendo Pal World lawsuit and the patent. I'd already done that, and I didn't want to bring it back up because, let's face it, once you get the patent, it's pretty much fucking game over. Pal World was going to get pounded. We all knew it. We were just waiting for it. Oh, but wait, there's more. The U.S. Patent Office, boss, orders a re-examination of Nintendo's controversial summon character and Let It Fight Pokemon patent, which IP experts claim further undermines credibility of its case against Palworld. So the director of the United States Patent and Trademark Office has ordered a re-examination of Nintendo's controversial summon character and Let It Fight Pokemon patent after it was heavily criticized by IP lawyers. So pretty much within hours of this guy getting into his seat, because, and again, we're not getting political on this podcast at all, but hours after he was confirmed by the United States Senate and he assumed his seat, he took a look at this and then he ordered the re-examination. And I will just read you what he says, and I'll give my opinion. The 397 patent issued with claims drawn to controlling the movement of a player character in a field of virtual space, causing a sub-character to appear in the field, controlling a battle in a manual mode. When an enemy character is present in the location, the sub-character has appeared. And when an enemy character is not present in the location, the sub-character has appeared automatically, moving the sub-character and the controlling a battle in an automatic mode when an enemy character is placed at a designated location. In his order, Squires pointed to two older U.S. patent applications, one filed by Konami in 2002 and the other by Nintendo itself in 2019, as prior art references. Both Squire said would be important in deciding whether the claims are patentable, and each raises a substantial new question of patentability. So, what does this mean, Godfather? I'm not the smartest in the world. I'm not a fucking law expert, but I can tell you this just by looking back at past events outside of the gaming world, that when the patent office reviews your patent, when the director reviews it, you're in serious trouble. And from what I can gather and from what I can see, if they lose this patent, they pretty much lose their case in the United States. And remember, they were trying to box Pal World in by doing a lawsuit in Japan and one in the United States. I think Nintendo is starting to their lawsuit's about to crumble. I'll be very shocked if they win this. All right, we're going to go back to Battlefield 6 for our last two topics. Dakota, are you still with me? Dakota. I will text you. I do know your phone number. I just text you, you some bitch. All right, going to Battlefield 6 map debate. I guess there's a big debate about the maps. New level as players meticulously measure 70 plus maps from Battlefield 3, Battlefield 2042, and more. Now, let me tell you this right now. You're always going to get disappointed if you're wanting, and this was my thought on this, if you're wanting an older map redone and reintroduced to the game. When I was playing Mario Kart, I so badly wanted Ghost Valley to come back and be remastered, and it was going to be just as fun as it was in the late 90s. Guess what? Never came. Didn't come. I was highly annoyed, but it didn't come. Be careful with what you're wishing for. However, two players did an effort over the weekend. They're Reddit users, Clara the Red and Penguin Non PC. They took all of the Battlefield maps and compared their sizes. Because you remember one of the big things about Battlefield was everyone was saying how big these maps were. They were saying, man, these maps are going to be ginormous. Are they ginormous? When you stack them up to the rest of the Battlefield franchise, are they that big? This is where I need Dakota at because I don't play this goddamn game. I don't. I'm waiting for him to either respond back to me. You know what? We're going to do one better. We are going to call him, and I'm on speakerphone with him. We will wait to see. Yo, this is Godfather calling for Dakota Novell.
What's up, buddy?
What is up? Did you leave my podcast?
I had to change my daughter's diaper.
Oh, dog. You're missing all kinds of Battlefield 6 stuff.
Of course.
And you are on air, so say hi to my entire audience.
What's up?
So, here's what was said, and I need your thoughts on this, and I'm hoping that Nomad Nation can hear this. So,
Yeah.
you remember Battlefield 6 was billed as having ginormous maps, correct?
Yeah. They started out with how was their whole thing? They were like, we're gonna bring back big maps. We're gonna bring in this battle royal mode. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna wipe COD off the market. You know, a lot of promises. But they really haven't been met. I mean, the map. There's like one really large map. But more than that, I mean, a lot of it is mid-range to close-range fighting. And beyond that, the battle royal mode is cool. I've been playing it a lot, so I can't hate on it too much. But there's a lot of things that they could definitely fix. I mean, I'm phasing through buildings. The bloom on the guns. If you don't use the gun that the character's proficient in, your bloom is absolutely crazy. The destruction on the map. Some buildings, destroy pretty easily. Some of them are like, not destroyable at all. And they preached how everything was going to be destroyable. So they got bugs they definitely need to fix. But yeah, the big maps. There's not a lot of big maps.
All right, so just for context out there, and Dakota, I know you can't see this, but if you look at my screen right now, this is one of the many improvements that I made here on Talking Tuesday for when I do this. You, the viewer, can see this a little bit better. But here, look up here. This is a view of all of the maps from the Battlefield franchise, okay? So you got Battlefield 42, you got Battlefield Hardline, Battlefield 6, Battlefield 1. And by the way, when you get back on, just let me know and I'll hang up. Battlefield 3, you've got all these Battlefield 4s up there. I mean, just wherever I look, I'm seeing more Battlefields. So So everyone here can see what these maps look like on your screen right now. Now we're gonna go back to my regular view. Okay, so hang on just a second. I'm getting there. You know that the largest map in Battlefield 6, take a guess on what it ranks as far as numbers within the Battlefield franchise from 1 to 70 something.
I couldn't even tell you.
36.
Jesus.
It is the 36th biggest map. I think they said Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 2042 had the largest maps.
Oh yeah, 2042 had huge maps, let alone how tall the skyscrapers were that you could get on. I mean, you got to think, dude. You could have your team drop you up on a skyscraper on 2042, and you could literally see the entire thing. You could snipe, and I mean, you're looking at, like, in my opinion, like 1,000 meters in each direction.
So
It's huge comparatively. So, like, when they're talking about having huge maps, I mean, they're not really living up to it.
no, I don't play the game, so that's why I brought you on, because without playing the game, I can't give an objectional viewpoint on it, because
Yeah.
I'm just taking what I'm reading off of these major sites, and when the major sites say, "Hey, they kind of deceived us," I can't say they did because I haven't stepped foot on that battlefield at all, and I don't plan to.
Percent agree with this. I mean, if you look at the Battle Royal map, the Battle Royal map itself is tiny comparative even to any other conquest maps. I mean, I'm not impressed with the size whatsoever.
So here's the other thing that I saw on Battlefield, and this is our last point for the night. But Battlefield RedSec launches to a mostly negative Steam review as Battlefield 6 players push for Battle Pass changes and larger maps, just like what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
But I find it funny how you know they're a huge hit, and I'm glad they're a huge hit. You know what? That's great for the gaming industry. But for them to trip this early on in their life, that's kind of alarming to me.
Been reading all the reviews online. I'm in a couple of on Facebook and stuff. A lot of the complaints aren't really with the Battle Royal map or any of the maps that drop. I've seen a lot of them. A lot of the complaints fall towards how the battle pass is set up. The challenges in the battle pass, the structure of the battle pass itself. They have. I've seen a lot of complaints, and I'm not saying that I haven't seen the complaints of these maps are small or the close quarter fighting. Because a lot of people have been arguing about that back and forth online as well. But most of the negative reviews I've seen have come, some part to do with the battle pass.
So Steam, that Steam's entire job is to, one, give us the game on a stable platform. That's the first, biggest, and most important thing that Steam does. Excuse me. The second thing that they do is they poll us to see how well these games are, to give the gaming developer a sense on how their game is doing or how their DLC is doing, or give them a little bit of feedback without a million voices coming at them at once. It's just one voice, and we've spoke in a poll. So this poll for RedSec, just 35% of RedSec Steam users review were positive, with a positive reviews in all languages. So I'm guessing that the one was just English, it was just American. So all languages faring just slightly better at 39%.
Oh my God.
Both measurements result in a dark red, mostly negative label. So I'm almost assuming that Battlefield or EA is going to be working to improve upon that because that's horrible.
People have played on the mechanics of the game for sure. Like I said, I've been playing for a while now, and I mean, there's buildings destroyed, but if you walk through them, you phase through it. You know, you'll walk up to the second story, you'll fall through it. And so I think the game mechanics is. I think the game thinks that the buildings are already destroyed, so there has to be some tweak in the mechanics of the game itself in order to provide a better quality play for everybody.
Good deal. Well, hey, Dakota, I want to thank you real quick for everybody on air that don't know who I'm talking to. If you look in the comments, I'm pointing at them right now. On the phone right now is Dakota Novell. I called him to get a player's perspective on Battlefield 6. So, Dakota, I want to thank you, my brother, for talking to me. I'm going to let you go so I can wrap this up.
Heck yeah, buddy. You have a good one.
You too, buddy.
Late.
All right, so I wanted to get a little perspective because here's the thing. I've told you before, I don't know everything about every video game, and I rely heavily on my circle to inform me on what is going on games that I'm just not in. And so that's what I did tonight. So with that being said, Talking Tuesday is coming to an end. That was all of my talking points. I think we had a hell of an episode. Tomorrow is Wednesday, Wacky Wednesday, Hump Day, however you want to say it. It is Wednesday. I will be streaming from about 3 o'clock Central Time to about 5 o'clock Central Time, and then I'll be off to air. I'm going to go spend some time with my granddaughter. Both my granddaughters are very cute. So anytime I have a chance to go spend time with them, I am going to go do it. And then Thursday, we have Thirsty Thursday. If you want me to talk about a specific game, put it in the comments. I will look it up and I will include it on Thirsty Thursday. So, with that being said, in the words of my good friend Santiago Cirillo, your negativity cannot and will not break me. You're beautiful just the way you are. Keep being you. If you're out there playing a game and you run across a griefer and that griefer needs blown the fuck up, you blow that motherfucker up. Thank you so much for watching Talking Tuesday. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your likes.